On the day of the father's funeral, the son took center stage. Kim Jong-un paying a personal and very public tribute to North Korea's dear leader, Kim Jong-il. He was far from alone. Thousands of mourners lined the square in front of the Kumsusan Memorial Palace, many of them from the powerful military.
The snow is endlessly falling like tears. How could the sky not cry when we've lost our general, who was a great man from the sky?
As I see the snow fall, I shed more tears thinking about our general's hard work.
If the intensity of the mourning was a message to the outside world, so too was the choreography around Kim Jong-il's hearse. His son was flanked by Ri Yong-ho, North Korea's most powerful soldier, and by Jang Song-taek, the uncle who many analysts had expected to be his chief counsel.
It was widely expected that it would be his uncle, Jang Song-taek, and the commander of the armed forces, Ri Yong-ho, who would lead these advices. Obviously, it seems to be the case, because during their funeral, both were featured very prominently.
After the ceremony outside the palace, Kim Jong-il's elaborate cortege made its stately progress around Pyongyang's snow-covered streets, his smiling flower-framed image provoking expressions of the deepest misery as it passed. In the South Korean capital, Seoul, it all triggered a very different response.
I hope North Korea changes a lot so that our North Korean brothers can live their lives like human beings.
With public mourning ceremonies banned, it was left to anti-North Korean activists to send their own message back to the north.
Harry's live for us now in South Korean capital Seoul. You mentioned at the beginning of this news hour, Harry, that people would be watching those images and trying to decode the messages coming out, who's where, who's wearing what. What will they have deciphered so far?
Well, what we were told by one leading analyst we spoke to was what was surprising was just the lack of surprises in this very complicated, highly choreographed funeral. We were expecting it to mirror what happened in 1994 in the funeral of Kim Il-sung, the huge cortege you saw, the outpouring of grief, and it did. The only difference really was the very bad weather. We were expecting to get clues as to whether the people we'd thought would be behind Kim Jong-un would be behind him publicly at this most important moment, and they were. As we mentioned there, Ri Yong-ho, the head of the army, and Jang Song-taek, the uncle of Kim Jong-un, both of them very close to him. Now, some people call this Kremlinology and something of an outdated method of trying to establish what's going on in a closed regime. But the other point is that this is the only real public clue that we have, and obviously they were trying to send a very strong message that everybody who's anybody in North Korea in terms of the ruling elite is behind Kim Jong-un, at least for now, during this transition.
And it's not over after what we've seen in the last few hours. It continues for another day at least.
That's right. It's one more day of official public mourning. Tomorrow, Thursday, in North Korea, is the Memorial Day. There'll be a 24-gun salute. People will start assembling again in one of the main squares. We're expecting another scene of hundreds of thousands of people pouring out their grief once more. And at noon local time, there will be a 3-minute silence, other than the fact that all machines with sirens on them around the country, trains, ships, vessels, factories, will all sound their sirens. And that will bring to an end the official mourning period, the 12-day mourning period. And then it will be up to Kim Jong-un and his new allies behind the scenes in the North Korean leadership to take this country into 2012, the year that Kim Jong-il said it would become a strong and prosperous nation.